Is your mic muted?
What is going on? I think I had some.
Got it. You got it. Whatever you did.
I just ruined that for 4 minutes. I had so many good sound bites and such a good introduction messed up, and there we go. 5 minutes of hey, thank you, Lord, for everything, for that. I mean, we're going to be dealing with a lot more than I couldn't make any. Nobody could hear me. I just, you know what? I forgot that I had to unplug and rearrange my microphone. It's like in hindsight, it's all flooding in, and I get it. And like RJ, so now in hindsight, I get it. I had a plan in my mind of where, because eventually in my world, the Obamas admit that they're two men that were in love and had to hide it because the world wasn't ready for them. But then the world is going to be ready for them. And she's going to be the president. He's going to work for the United Nations, probably in the top job. These things have to happen. So in my world, whatever else happens, whether it's I didn't plug in the mic right, it doesn't matter. The the intention of my heart is to bring glory to the Lord Jesus Christ and let people know he's not a liar. Everything he said was true, and live the generations of my life of people saying, you didn't really have a vision because you can't heal like Benny Hinn and you don't even believe in that stuff. My for decades, I said generations, I meant decades, I've been going like, yes, I did. I've had visions, and I don't care if I don't believe in charismatics. The intention of my heart is that everything Jesus said is true. Eventually, it's led to you convinced that you can't muzzle the ox or some crap, and then we got settled into doing these shows and stuff. I'm not going to change because in my world, it would have been easier for the devil to let Harris get elected. Well, God wanted Trump to be the 44th and the 47th president.
45.
Huh?
45 and 47.
That's what I meant. No, I didn't know. What? So it doesn't matter. I mean,
Yeah, it's in the details, whatever. Yeah, some of that gets muddied up anyhow. But yeah,
both of them are.
like falling down the stairs.
Yeah. Who
I'm
else
glad
is?
that's over.
Yeah. When you fall down the stairs, what he's implying is that you're glad when that's over. But and now the election's over. What's going to happen? I mean, how long do we wait before Trump comes out as anti-gun, pro-abortion? Uh, maybe
Well,
reads a book.
I think the
Maybe
first
reads a
thing
book about transsexualism at the library. Is he going
I
that far?
in my mind, pulling the e-brake on that military industrial complex thing would be a high priority, where you're not, just hemorrhaging fiat currency to that organization. But that would be in my mind, a good beginning. But yeah, he can't, grab the controls to the helm there prior
Well,
to the end
me,
of January. But I think, I guess it was a rally yesterday. I got my statement from the previous month and I hemorrhaged, $500 a day for a month in my investments. So
fiat money.
12,000, a little over, uh, for my monthly statement. Oh, again, don't have a whole lot of control over that either. But I thought they said that the markets were rallying yesterday for whatever
The
reason, don't know.
maybe Biden, because he also is a miracle worker with the economy, according to the stock market. It's just through both of the opposites, Trump and Biden,
Well,
the stock market raged up.
yeah, then that's because the dollar, dollar isn't worth anything, so it represents more of them. But what is it really worth? I don't know.
I know
But
that
they'll tell you what it's worth.
it's
They'll tell you
still
what it's
worth
worth.
bending over and picking up a dollar if you see one on the ground.
Yeah, yeah, you can do probably something with it if you want to walk off in the woods, maybe, and use it for something. I don't know.
All right, now don't just leave Gerard chatting to himself in there. There's 9 people watching. RJ, let's just go over a couple verses. We're going to look at a couple other things. If anybody has any questions, they're more than welcome to pop them in there. There's something in the scriptures where you just don't want to make, if we make him out to be a liar, Jesus, in any way, if somehow we're calling God a liar about his timeline, that's what we're into, the star forts. We're stuck talking about the mafia Trumpsters and how they get in office. And it's like, oh my gosh, now we got it. They push the abortion, they push the trans, and nobody wants that. I mean, nobody that's Christian would think it's biblical. Right? We're going to be looking at some other videos. We're using this fair use disclaimer because that's part of our society. It's our culture, like our abortion culture. We look around and say, like women want to be feminist and they want to be their enslavement to their husbands and the patriarchy is equal to the slavery that black people had to have and the destruction of the Native Americans with smallpox blankets. Let's focus on how bad women has been. Fair use disclaimer. Wow, that was a good one. That's what I call a rant because there's your modern women right there. I'm
That's the
you
poof.
know
That's the poof Diddy.
right. She's the vice president of the United States. She came within a hair's breadth. But I'm gonna fly now. I am in I could not feel better physically than I do this morning. I feel like you know,
Well, yeah, brush junkie yesterday. Yeah,
I
Just
couldn't find that
throwing
video
it.
you said you sent me, RJ. Could you send it again from Brush Donkey?
Yeah, okay. Give me a
Or just, at
moment.
your own time here. Do you have any?
Yeah,
So,
sure.
if we
Give me a
confess
moment.
our sins, he is faithful and just, a correct usage of the word, because the word just means it is a just decision from a righteous God, or it just happened just now. It's not, I just want to, he forgives sins, cleanses us from unrighteousness. The last thing we want to do is say we have not sinned. We make him out to be a liar. He doesn't like that. He also says, I love you to certain people, and some of you will still be alive when I come back. And that would be lying. That would be a lie. So we got that to deal with. Any comments, RJ?
Not at this point.
All right. We got
But
election talk, but I got to get these out of the way because they were on my mind. We're running past you real quick. But as the Lord lives, who brought up and led the offspring of the house of Israel out of the north country, all right, and out of all the countries where he had driven them. We hear so much nonsense going on in the community of the golden age past about, ooh, the north, it's the north. Okay, it's Israel coming out of the north and out of all those countries. That just said something I should run by you, and I should dwell on it a little bit myself as I set my intent. Well, because it is just like what we're. So we got that. For as a man thinks in his heart, so he is. You ever hear that one, RJ?
yes, I am familiar with
As
that
he
quote.
reckons within himself, so he is. So we do have setting our intents, what we believe. We're going to be talking about the election and things like that, but a couple of things I wanted to go over. Glad I showed that disclaimer.
Scientists are still studying how this type of epigenetic transmission of trauma can occur in humans. Even so, they already predict that it might be possible to reprogram the same mechanism to make us healthier, since epigenetic changes are reversible. This opens up a huge universe of possibilities in the scientific world. For example, there are studies to create drugs that make it possible to reverse the epigenome markers that favor the appearance of certain tumors. Epigenetics could also revolutionize the treatment of different diseases, such as diabetes, lupus, Alzheimer's, or even some addictions.
Wow, epigenetics. I'm just saying that I want to focus on things like that now that the distraction of the election is over. Hey, do you know epigenetics, the study of it and this science, disproves that there can't be Darwinism or quantum physics with what they're studying about epigenetics, because they're contradictory. They don't work. It's too perfect. But you don't hear about that. We get flashes of the president's boobs well,
Yeah.
no, I mean, now the new presidents, we get subjected to the pornography of millennia. What kind of mania or manic depression is the life of Baron Trump going to go through from age 18 to 22? I mean, he's going to act out, I think. Or maybe he already is. Or maybe he's just settled down with his lover now in Las Vegas, living that life, which his father is going to be very supportive of. I know. I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump ends up reading books in a library to children while he dresses like a girl. Nothing would surprise me, RJ. Wow, that's pretty controversial.
Yeah, I can only imagine what that may appear like.
I'm almost done ranting, and then we can talk about the election. Here's this other rant I want to go on. Oh, never mind. It was just more. This is my thing. Here's the last rant. I'm tired of people talking about the frickin' Mandela effect. It's stupid.
Did start the rocket.
Why would I have bothered to set it?
Comments, see how you feel about it. But I am of the mindset now that it is possible that the reason there is no explanation may not fully be because some dark forces of groups of people hid our history completely, because we know they did start the Rockefeller school systems and stuff. They did alter our history, but you can't block out something this large from a society around the world's knowledge that no one can remember it.
Okay, so for refreshing the memory, this guy has started what I wanted to start, his own homeschool with the short season and everything, except he's bringing in love America, love the Trinity, and now he's full in on saying he's had large sections of his life that he can't remember because it's the Mandela effect. Just give it a second, then give me your comment.
That's too much. So leave your comments. Let me know what you think one night. And the next day you woke up and you were much older and you have no recollection at all of large sums of time from your life. Maybe the period from being 30 years old until 40 years old. And the only things you can remember are very brief blips of something, like just a flash.
Man, I wish. RJ, I practically remember every freaking waking moment from, and it's like there's no decade that's ever snuck by me or anything. Like, it's like, wow. So he came on as Mr. Solid as a rock, this and that, and now it's all of a sudden like I've been decade hopping. It's the Mandela effect, and now I'm in this world where I've got this information. Thanks, Paco, or wherever it came from, but now it's new, and I can, because he used to be how to be a Christian millionaire guy, how to sell yourself, sell this, make money. He was always been about making money, and now he's got this.
Well, yeah, I don't know anything about him, and yeah, to comment,
right.
I'd need to know more detail. I can speculate, I can understand where, not just individuals, but like families probably can get it locked into a mindset where much of their routine is almost robotic, I suppose.
I'm a robot
for quite a while.
My routine, I feel like a robot, or like if they watched me from above, there'd be no difference than watching a bee or a ant at work. I just do the same thing every day.
Well, my point is, raising a family and you're doing, your own thing, and whether you're self-employed or, you're going to the grind,
yeah,
you can get it, and I can see where, in retrospect, it may feel like, well, criminy, it was just yesterday I was bringing my child home from the hospital after being born, and now I'm walking her down, to be married 30 years later plus, or whatever that may be.
Right.
I can relate to that.
I can relate to the understanding of the science that's proven that asked to remember your commute home from work, that your human brain shuts down after your first 5 minutes and it doesn't track on until your last 5 minutes. your commute, those people that are commuting like I used to, 40 minutes a
Hour
day.
and a half
Some
each
people are doing
direction,
two and a
going to
half,
job
2 hours.
site. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
did
know.
40 minutes each way for 20
In
years.
weather that's totally
Your
sucks or
brain
whatever.
shuts down. You don't remember anything. You're listening to sports radio, the music. They have us so indoctrinated where you're just, yeah, we go through vast portions of our life in a neural shutdown.
Well, it's
And
part of the multitasking thing where, you're doing something and not thinking about anything about really other than, it's, it's odd, but that happens. That's what's going on.
so the Trumpster won the presidency. He's now going to be the president, but he is not the president yet. They've got some delays. He won Pennsylvania.
Yeah, about 90 days almost, not quite, but almost 3 months yet. November, December, January.
Are the people worried about the hurricane that's coming into the Gulf of Mexico today?
Well, it depends what they're going to do with it once it gets there.
Welcome to CTV with summer breaking news. It is official. Donald J. Trump is now a president-elect, the 47th president-elect
Wow.
of the United States of.
So this man is obviously, he's a fan of the powers that used to be revolting to each other. Got the globe, got the Trumpster. Wow.
Oh, that other kid, is he a Flatlander or no?
Yeah.
The guy
Yeah.
that was doing the homeschool?
Oh yeah. Yeah. He is exactly what we teach, except he's still into the Trinity and loving America's the light on the hill. He's like we were like 8 years ago. Exactly. As a matter of fact, he's exactly like we were 8 years ago. Everybody that has the say, like I haven't learned anything since my Billy Graham crusade, except the Earth is flat. You probably got a few mistakes that you need to work out.
Are very successful and long live coverage on 2CTV, which actually brought more views than the majority of the mainstream media, at least in the United Kingdom.
Did you hear that? The YouTube got more views than the ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS conglomerates. Fox News, I mean, too. Wow, that's
a surprise.
Well, I kind of think so. But it's because
not everybody is, it's a transition. Not everybody's getting their information the way they used to. Maybe that might have something to do with it, possibly.
Yeah, didn't mean to cough on everybody, but I really think I thought of something last night that I think that I'm the biggest liberal in the world. It to the point of where I even feel sorry for the baby in the womb that, it's like, no, somebody's got to, I care about that. And I'm wondering, how does the people that are on the left think they out liberal me if they just think, well, no, we're liberal on everything else, but not that boy or girl that is an inconvenience right now. So it's like,
well, I just
are they really the compassionate, kind people they say they are? Because that's my intent. That's what I want to be. Liberal in love, liberal in forgiveness.
10 days old, and there isn't a country, worldwide that has more laws than what we have here in the United States. If that means anything.
We only have the royal law that's written on our hearts. That's above the golden rule. It's mentioned in James that for us now who have beaten our swords into plowshares and are waiting on Gog Magog the last final days, we're different. We don't fight. We don't kill. We run away. We live to live another day. That's living life right now. digging in and saying, this is my home in the city is a sure path to death. It doesn't matter how you vote. If your vote is going to lead you to pick up a gun and kill another human for a political thought, that's not being liberal. That's not being loving. That's not being forgiving. That's being played. We've been played. We supported that hated military industrial complex. I signed up for the Army. My dad, my son. We've got to put that behind us as this veil is lifted. These people are not going to give up. It's all a part. The Trumps and the Clintons go to each other's weddings. They're in on it. They all are friends of Epstein's. They're adrenochrome drinking fiends. We can't lose track of like, oh, but this guy claims this or that or the other thing. Go ahead, RJ. That was a pretty good rant, but that's honestly how I feel.
Well, yeah, as far as being that tasty morsel meat in the cauldron, whether it's a reptile, frog, whatever, that doesn't realize the heat's being turned up. You really don't want to jump, from the pan to the fire. But yeah, as far as exiting the cauldron type, goal, yeah, that might be a priority, possibly.
Someday the people of this world are going to have to realize it does turn always back to what do we do now? If you get your ass to work 6 days, you're going to find labor where you have to work because you love this girl and you're doing this or that or the other thing. But it's not like my work today is 12 hours on YouTube being convinced again. It's got to be either aliens or Atlantis, because if you're not one called, two chosen, and three being faithful, you're going to be led down a million false paths. You were telling me about this email from Brush Junkie, and I didn't see it.
Well, I just sent it to you. Well, when you asked me to, but the one before that is the guy that was, talking about, you think you have liberties and freedoms. You might want to double check, what the
Let's take
definition.
that one. I want to hear, because
hello everyone, that guy, and welcome to Election.
Here's a short.
I'm Tracy,
enough
and I wanted to do a video.
What was that?
I say hers isn't a long video. She just runs a few clips. I mean,
yeah.
She doesn't show her disclaimer like you do, but
she might have it. Yeah, who knows how they do it.
Video honoring this historic day because it's a big deal, not just in the U.S. but for the world. And there's this phenomena that has happened recently, and that's what I'll be going over in this video, is this outpouring of support for Kamala Harris by celebrities, kind of like the last minute, like the last couple of weeks. All of a sudden, these celebrities who were not political, all of a sudden are putting their support behind the Harris campaign. And they happen to have something in common.
I did see this because she mentions one is Dick Van Dyke. I wonder what happened.
They're all associates or associated with Diddy. And Diddy is indicted in New York, and he's awaiting trial for very serious criminal charges. And I'm not going to go into that, but the understanding is that he has a lot of blackmail regarding a lot of high level.
Isn't it hard to imagine that they have any shame left, that they could be black, that they would be like, that they just like, go ahead and tell them, who cares?
Well, it's a common playbook, I believe.
Yes, it is. From J. Edgar Hoover, at the end of World War I, who ran the FBI until the 1972. They had to pass laws that he could stay in office because he kept You know, they go, you've reached your retirement age. Sorry, I'm not leaving. I've got to, or I'll be exposed as a cross-dressing homosexual. That used to be a bad thing, but not
And
that
as long
there's
as you,
anything wrong in Hollywood or DC or Moscow today.
as long as you signed that there wasn't any takeover, you can get your money.
That money you talk of, it's like Bigfoot. I hear about it, I never see it.
Level celebrities. And, let me play a clip of his former bodyguard talking about the people that are probably on these tapes.
I don't think it's only celebrities going to be shook. He had politicians in there.
Yeah.
He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there.
All right, so that's his bodyguard,
Wow. No wonder the guy was like huge. But anyway, part of the path to power is you've got to be perverted. I'm going to tell just an anecdote before we move on. When Jesus said, he's the God of the living, that's why you never stop honoring your mother and your father. They're living right now. They may or may not have been saved, but you can honor them and they'll know it. And it's good on you because you've obeyed. And the epigenetics thing that I was going over with earlier, it does play into that. Like, I can set my intent because I can know where if my parents are in heaven, their confessions might have come late and they had that sulfur, but that's the way it seemed, So maybe they're in heaven, maybe not. I'm honoring them because if there's anything to that epigenetic things, there were never more two feisty people who had, like me and my wife, for the first 20 years of their marriage, it was just like a team moving forward. Things broke down and she died young, so we'll never know, So, but anyway, I don't know what it's like to be anybody else. I don't know what it's like to not have changed the world with this theology, with the stones crying out. I can only go to school and just wait, to die and see what my seed yields, because it's obvious this isn't over. The Trump is going to come out and mess it up. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I don't know how much control you had over, who you had for parents and when you were born and what sort of influence you would receive, from them and those around, where you were raised. I can only speculate that. I don't know that, how much control you had over actually any of that.
I don't know how much control I've had over anything except in the last 12 years. My childhood was in the shadow of the prom queen, golden girl, could do anything, look, she's 3, she can do a backflip, and I was just in awe of everybody else, so that was my whole life until all of a sudden I had a little growth spurt around 14, but pretty boring, really.
By the time anyone is able to, grab the reins, on their own cart and trying to control whatever they have some sort of control of, you're well on your way of whatever you've been influenced by. I think that this is me ranting.
Yeah, like my older sister, she's still on a tear. She's, she freaking, like went from Oh, I want to get my master's, my PhD. I want to be the principal. Now, oh, superintendent sounds good. Where we used to go to school, she's the freaking boss, you know. But she
Well,
turned
good
out,
for her.
to be not a very loyal Christian, not that good at some of those things, And what
Well,
Trump's
juggling priorities and
I'm sure she's all about Trump, and they make it easy because nobody wants to be on the side of people that read books about promoting transsexualism and homosexuality to children in public libraries. I mean, it's past the point of absurdity.
oh yeah, that scale, tipped some time ago. Yeah, we're
And just
beyond
because we're in a handful of years, we're going to both be in our 70s, and people in this world think that it's always been like it is now. We were alive when Leave It to Beaver was new. We were like old enough to get it that Ginger was hot when the Gilligans got lost on their island, man. It's all brand new, everybody.
Yeah, and what a joke, or a sick joke that's being played, but you you're not immune to it, and you can't really control much of it until a veil gets lifted.
I like the Brush Junkie one better than this.
Ready to work together
Oh,
as
look
we
at
did
they're in
for
love.
4 years. With your convictions and mine.
I'll tell you what, whatever happens in the future, if it goes down and people come to around the San Juan Mountains, and we're trying to live the life away from the 5G, I get it. Some other countries go into hand holding and kissing, the men kissing each other. That's not going to happen with me. That's never been a part of my life, and I just don't see it as like something
It's
as
a
a biblical.
Greet one another with a kiss or whatever.
So go ahead.
Respect and ambition for more peace and
I just don't want to. I'm just not comfortable with it. I mean, if I get a wife or something, I'll kiss her.
You're going to get both Trudeau and Macron again.
I'm not going to kiss this dude
over Trump, saying, "Yeah,
freaking
we are
way.
best friends with Trump."
Like even those friendly kisses on the cheek that they say.
So that's going to happen anyway.
I don't get
it. There's going to be a charm offensive right now.
I got a trauma about that or
all
something.
These Western globalists,
that's just like if some magician wants to tell me, "Hey, I want to show you a trick. I'm going to put these handcuffs on." I'm going to say, "Go ahead and fucking try." I'm not getting handcuffed.
And obviously another good friend of Trump, Modi of India, also said, congratulations, my friend.
Oh my goodness!
Donald
they have
Trump,
about 1 billion people like China.
Election victory.
And they're so
As you
smart.
build on the successes of your previous term, I look forward to renewing our collaboration to further strengthen the India-US
Trump is not.
He
doesn't look like a dawdling idiot. Like,
let's work for the betterment of our people and to promote global peace, stability, and
Hillary.
There's also
they had her running for president. She could barely walk.
Other pro-Trump leaders, including Javier Milei in Argentina.
You are so bad, dude.
Election season is over.
This guy,
United States of America, Donald J. Trump has been declared victorious. On Monday, January the 20th.
Oh, he got declared. He didn't win.
President-elect Trump will be formally inaugurated to the office of president, ushering in his second non-consecutive span of 4 years.
Look at all the military.
When it comes to purely political analysis, we trust that an abundance of American and international sources have the situation handled. Instead, on today's special episode of Warfronts, we're going to focus.
Let's see if there's any questions or anything. We want to, this is an exciting day. People are right now that are just joining or here looking at. I'm glad they're doing it when it's live because the first 4.5 minutes, dead air, and a lot of me going like, why can't my audio work? But Donald Trump got elected president. The Packers lost. The taxes are due. The Thanksgiving is coming. The soft landing, the promised soft landing of inflation is going to be the soft landing hasn't happened yet. We got lithium being exposed because of hurricanes in North Carolina, a new hurricane with another one behind it, and the possibility for 3 more named storms to enter the Gulf. But we're not supposed to worry about that shit because it's not like our infrastructure is in good shape.
Well, what about that lithium recycling battery facility that caught fire in Missouri?
They're all catching on fire, RJ. It's like I didn't even know. It's like
thousands of fish floating. Does that mean anything? I don't know.
Trump grandfather discovered the Tesla stuff. Vannevar Bush was
he ended up with it. Yeah, he ended up with it.
Vannevar Bush supported the Nazis. JFK became rich because he had help from the Jewish people and supported the Nazis. They were at the point of knowingly lobotomizing family members. And they're in power. They're friends with, go to the weddings of the Clintons. We know the Clinton, Maria Abramovich, cut yourself, feel the pain, bleed in the spirit soup, ejaculate in it, let the women put their menstrual blood in it, throw in some whatever else they do, and then they eat it. The woman who was almost president to the man who was president, who went to Trump's wedding, or Trump went to their daughter's wedding, their daughter, McDougal's daughter, as they say. Wow. But hey, it's going to be great because now Trump's the president and not Biden. Where's the good news in this?
Well, yeah, time's gonna keep, the sun is gonna keep circulating. That's how you keep time. What's up in the firmament, that's, we know what's described in Genesis. There's a reason for that, and time will continue yet, for a while, probably.
And a lot of people are still going to be like, when they hear that national anthem, it's going to be, I'm going to jump up and put my hand on my heart and pledge allegiance and swear that oath that, if they're needed, they'll be drafted, they'll be sent anywhere in the world to fight and die for Old Glory.
Well, that's what I was saying about pulling the e-brake on that apparatus and then doing, I don't know how you, not just serious negotiating, but they're going to have to do something with this, what had been the world currency, or what fiat thing that, we're trillions and trillions of, that the country, government responsible for owing, those that are holding the paperwork on that transaction stuff. So it'll still be somewhat interesting. I'm not saying it's a huge yawn boring by any means, but and it all takes time, and that's the whole deal. Gambling on, is there enough time, or
All right, RJ, your cousin calls from Arkansas, Billy Bob, and he said, damn, RJ, I just bought 4 ounces of gold, Cougarans, it's pure, or Corona. I paid $2,700 of an ounce. Should I sell it now that it's going to settle down because the Trump is the president? What are they going to do with all that stacked silver?
Yeah, but what are you exchanging it for if you're just going to convert it back into whatever useless fiat currency. I don't know what, the whole incentive, I don't know what the options are. I know it's in dire straits. I can recognize that, but I don't know what they're going to do to fix it. I'm here. I'm the repairman. I'm here to fix this. Yeah,
So
well, get her done. Get her done. Well,
overall,
how much is that going to cost me for you to fix this?
and there's a lot of things in this country that now that this election's over and they do give that honeymoon period where the people on CNN are just going to be like, oh my gosh, now what? But in the meantime, there's hurricanes that have just hit, hurricanes that have hit, insurance companies that aren't paying hundreds of thousands of people. We have our hands full. And I think that
Full, yeah, hands tied. You have your hands tied and they're full. Yeah, both.
right. So I was wrong about thinking that in my mind it would have been equally evil to let Harris win and then things failed to where they need Michelle. But the predictions that I make about politics are not like what are the stated prophecies that have been coming true since 2015 that someday the Obamas will be out as homosexuals, that they only had to do it because people weren't ready for it. And ladies and gentlemen, I have already declared that the Christians have lost the culture war. There's no turning back. There's coming a time where saints are going to be chased around and encompassed in the mountains because they're living in a off-grid manner, and most cities are wrecked in destruction because China and Russia want their freaking money. Hey, Fred. That'll be, this is, this is obviously going to be a bone of contention. I think right off the bat, and if you don't know the name of Rich, the person that Clinton pardoned the last day, he was wanted in the United States for 35 years. So there's always scandals on who gets pardoned. The man who founded the Warriors Refuge, where I recovered after hurting my ankle doing the parkour on mushrooms, always a bad idea. He got out of prison because Obama pardoned him, and he started a charismatic Christian home for wounded warriors. He called it the Wounded Warriors Refuge. And most of the people got there because they were alcoholics or meth heads. It's like, what happened to you? It's like, oh, well, I was trying these death head mushrooms to see if they really would kill you, and they didn't. But I was trying to parkour on them, and I landed just short. Ow. That still hurts. So it'll be interesting to see who they pardon. You're absolutely right, Fred. They always shock at the end because, I mean, the man, it's Warriors Refuge. You can look up the founder. I mean, he was found with 3,500 pounds of pot. I mean, he wasn't a small time dealer. He was the Houston dealer. So the mafia controls it. If you haven't heard, of Operation Overlord, and when the United States let Lucky Luciano out of prison because Maya Lansky, the Jewish mafia, told him it was a good idea. And if you think that they're going to make America great again, I just would say hold on and be ready if it's not.
Yeah, as far as a conflict of interest, to pardon Hunter, his own son,
that would probably be the number one on my list. If I was Joe Biden, what could they do? He could just
complain. I suppose you're going to get some complainers because some people
You're going to get a lot of complainers. You're going to get a lot of complainers. But the guy's last name was Rich. If you want to find out, they get away with controversy. Bill Clinton had a teenager underneath his desk for 3 days, yanking in his crank while he was taking phone calls, talking to presidents of other countries. That he admits to.
Was it Seth Rich?
No, that was another Rich. This guy was pardoned in 1999, the day before, or maybe 2000, the day before George Bush took over. It was one of the last things Clinton did as president.
Sure.
So let me.
Yeah, I'm sure it's in the records. Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up.
Or search and destroy.
Because I can't remember for the life of me. I can't remember the man's full name.
Okay. Yeah, I know there was a lot of other suspicious activity, but yeah, it wasn't a pardon, or other than pardon me.
Oh my goodness, he had
the guy that was
so much.
A suicide in the park allegedly, or something.
Right, that would be Vince Foster. Now the man's name was not Charlie Rich, the singer of thing. This was Mark Rich. I'm not going to donate to that. And he was America's most wanted white collar criminal. He was one of those guys. Had been living in Switzerland since 1983. I think I got most of it right. Fleeing 50 counts of fraud, racketeering, and tax evasion because, well, I think I'm not saying he was set up in one of these Epstein guys, but maybe. It goes back to the 73 energy crisis when somebody had to illegally sell oil to Iran when it was embargoed and get rich doing it, and it was him. So the last hour, the final hour, I mean, that's the world we live in, RJ. That's what I'm trying to say. Some people lose thousands of years. Some people never tried to commit the Bible to memory and would know that it always said the lion and the wolf in that. And I had actually won bets on that kind of thing. You know I could win bets on saying, so do you think the ark landed on Mount Ararat? Want to bet? And they'll go, yeah, I'll bet. Yeah. Well, you owe me money because it says it landed on the mountains of Ararat. Pay up. The whole people that don't know the Bible, they're going to act like it's changed. Well, guess what? In Mark, it still says bottles. In Luke, it says wineskins. So if you could, shut up until you really know the Bible. That's not the way I wanted to end the show, RJ. Absolutely not the way I had planned it. Do you have anything you want to go with? No, I haven't. No, he should listen to my prophecies. And he should come to my theological perspective before I'm ready to trade info with somebody I've never heard of. We're the ones who lifted this veil from star floors to the rocks crying out until now. It's not going to change because, Dimitri wants to tell me something. No, he needs to listen to me and RJ and us. It's a flat earth nation. The golden age is past because the mud flood was Armageddon. Why in the world would we ever tell you anything else? And still be able to say we have your best interest at
Let's
heart.
get over the hump of this week today. One day at a time.
Remember the 5th of November. Does it equal with a world government who planned, and 500,000 people died at the end of World War I, waiting for the 11th minute of the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month so they could sign the armistice to end World War II. That's the people we're dealing with. Don't give a rat's ass about human life. We're human resources to them. They would soon enough drain us of our adrenochrome, cook and eat us, than care about who's president.
That's holding a lot of aces.
Yeah.
Loving,
And we should be
loving,
prepared to run for our lives. And some of us are getting ready for that, and some aren't. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arriba, Dochi. Ciao. Sayonara. Afirase. Nakame. I'm just saying,